Hello all, this is M. Sandeep Kumar and I welcome you to my YouTube channel Concepts of IIT Maths. We are in the chapter of Theory of Equations and the topic that we are going to discuss today is nature of the roots of cubic equation. Okay, na? So what are we going to do here? We are going to analyze the nature of the roots of the cubic equation f of x equal to 0 using its derivative f dash of x equal to 0. Okay na. So we will be discussing when does this cubic equation has three real and distinct roots, when can it have three real roots with one repeated root, and then when it has only one real root, that means two complex roots, in which case it has three real and equal roots, and in which case it has at least one real root. We will discuss all these cases in today's video. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe the channel and click the bell icon and watch the video till end to get the clarity on this concept. We'll start with the topic nature of the roots. First of all, let us consider a cubic polynomial f of x, which is ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d, a cubic expression where the coefficients a, b, c, d are clearly real numbers, and the coefficient a can be greater than 0 or it can be less than 0 also. First of all, if a is greater than 0, then as x approaches minus infinity, the value minus infinity, if you try to substitute x as minus infinity, this entire thing f of x also approaches minus infinity only. And similarly, if x approaches plus infinity, if your input approaches plus infinity, then what about the output? If you substitute x as infinity, if you try to substitute, okay na, then f of x also approaches plus infinity. Then while drawing its graph, you have to understand this is x-axis from plus infinity to minus infinity. As the input approaches minus infinity, the graph approaches minus infinity. Okay na? The graph approaches minus infinity. As x approaches minus infinity, the output also approaches minus infinity. And when x approaches plus infinity, the graph approaches plus infinity, like this. Please remember, I don't know what is the situation in between, but as x approaches minus infinity, the graph goes down, and as x approaches plus infinity, the graph goes up. Now let us try to analyze the situation. What if coefficient of a is less than 0? If a is less than 0, if a is negative, then as x approaches minus infinity, observe here, minus infinity into minus is plus, it becomes plus. Just imagine that. That means f of x approaches plus infinity. And if x approaches plus infinity, because of this minus sign, f of x also approaches minus infinity. Okay na? It's kind of reverse. If x is approaching minus infinity, then f of x approaches plus infinity, and if x approaches plus infinity, then f of x approaches minus infinity. And how we'll draw the graph? As your input approaches minus infinity, the graph keeps going up, because as x approaches minus infinity, f of x approaches infinity. Now the graph goes like this, it goes to infinity. And similarly, when input is approaching plus infinity, when input is approaching plus infinity, f of x approaches minus infinity. That means the graph goes down to minus infinity. As x approaches infinity, the graph goes down. As x approaches minus infinity, the graph goes up. See, please understand the basic thing first of all before how to draw this graph when it comes to when input is going towards minus infinity or plus infinity. It depends on the coefficient of x cube, the leading coefficient. It depends on this person. That is the first thing we should know. Okay na? Now let us decide how to find the nature of the roots using the derivative of f of x. So if you find f dash of x, dear students, a into x cube derivative is 3x square plus b into x square derivative is 2x plus c into x derivative is 1 and the constant derivative is 0, correct? So that means you will get f dash of x is equal to 3ax square plus 2bx plus c. Now, dear students, let us find the discriminant of this f dash of x. Because it is a quadratic equation, what is its delta? Discriminant b square minus 4 into a into c. So which means you'll get 4b square minus 4 into 3ac. If you take 4 common, you'll get b square minus 4ac. Okay na? So this is the discriminant. This is the discriminant of this f dash of x. Now three cases arise because of the discriminant. In case 1, we will discuss what if delta is less than 0. We will discuss what if delta is less than 0. What if the discriminant is less than 0. In case 2, we will discuss what if delta is greater than 0. And in case 3, we will discuss what if delta is equal to 0. From here, three cases arise. So based on delta value, if it is less than 0, it is case 1. If it is greater than 0, case 2. If it is equal to 0, case 3. So now let us see what happens if the delta is less than 0. First we will discuss with what if the delta is less than 0. Case 1. The discriminant delta is less than 0. So dear students, since the delta is less than 0, this person does not have any real roots. It doesn't have any real roots, which means f dash of x can never be equal to 0, correct? F dash of x can never be equal to 0 for all x belongs to R. For all inputs, f dash of x cannot be equal to 0. See, actually, if f of x is the curve, f dash of x is the slope of the curve, correct? Slope of the curve. If f of x is the curve, then f dash of x is the slope of the curve. If f dash of x is equal to, see, if f dash of x is greater than 0, the curve will be increasing. The curve will be increasing. If f dash of x is less than 0, the curve will be decreasing. And if f dash of x is equal to 0, at this point, look at this point. At this point, the curve is neither increasing nor decreasing at this point. Okay, now its derivative is 0 means at this point, look here, this is a turning point. You can also call it as a turning point, correct? So if it is increasing, if f dash of x is greater than 0, this will be the position of the curve. And if f dash of x is less than 0, f dash of x, then the curve will be decreasing. If f dash of x is equal to 0, then this will be the case. We will get a point where f of x is neither increasing nor decreasing. Now come back to this. As I told that delta is less than 0, this person can never be, this person does not have any real roots. That means f dash of x cannot be 0 for all x belongs to R. F dash of x cannot be 0. That means in the graph you will never get these kind of points. These kind of points where the slope of the tangent at this point is 0. You will not get these kind of points. There will be no turning points. So what is the meaning of it means? What is the meaning of it means, dear students? If the leading coefficient is a is greater than 0, then what happens? How the graph looks like? See here, how the graph look like. The graph will be completely increasing from minus infinity to plus infinity. It will be increasing. The graph will be completely increasing. Okay, na? And what if a is less than 0? Which means then the graph will be completely decreasing. Okay, na? The graph will be completely decreasing. Here the graph will be completely increasing, and here the graph will be completely decreasing. Strictly increasing. We can say that the graph is strictly increasing here and the graph is strictly decreasing here. So if a is greater than 0, the graph will be drawn like this, strictly increasing, and if a is less than 0, the graph will be strictly decreasing. But in either cases, the graph intersects the x-axis at only one point. So therefore, dear students, if the discriminant is negative, if delta is less than 0 for f dash of x, then f of x has how many roots? Then the curve is nothing but f of x only, na? Therefore it has, f of x has one real root. That's it, one real root. The other two roots are complex and conjugates. So if delta is less than 0 for f dash of x, then f of x has how many real roots? One real root, because it intersects x-axis at only one point, either here or here. Okay, now next let us go for the second case where delta is greater than 0. Here we are with f dash of x, and this is it, and we told that the delta discriminant is 4 times b square minus 3ac, correct? What if delta, the value of delta is greater than 0? Here again, dear students, 3 different cases will arise. When delta is greater than 0, 3 different cases will arise. 3 different cases. In first case, okay, na? So first of all, let us discuss about the roots. After that, I'll tell you what are the 3 different cases. Since delta is greater than 0, f dash of x has 2 real and distinct roots, correct? delta is greater than 0, this quadratic equation has two real and distinct roots. So let the two roots of f dash of x are alpha comma beta, where alpha is less than beta. Okay, now where alpha is less than beta, the two roots for this equation is alpha comma beta. So therefore, how can I rewrite f dash of x, dear students? If I take 3a common, we'll get x square plus 2b by 3ax plus c by 3a. That can be written as 3a into x minus alpha into x minus beta, correct? If alpha and beta are the roots of this f dash of x, then f dash of x can be rewritten like this. F dash of x is equal to 3a into x minus alpha into x minus beta. Here you have to observe one thing. If coefficient of a is positive, then we have already discussed this in the graph of quadratic equations, that f dash of x will be negative. F dash of x will be negative in the interval alpha comma beta. F dash of x will be negative in the interval alpha comma beta, and f dash of x will be positive in the interval minus infinity comma alpha union beta comma infinity. If you want to understand this concept, you can go and check the concept called graph of quadratic expressions. We have this concept in quadratic equations playlist in our channel. And what if a is less than 0? What if a is less than 0? Then f dash of x will be increasing in the interval alpha comma beta, and f dash of x will be decreasing in the interval minus infinity comma alpha union beta comma infinity. Please remember this. This will be used to draw the graph. When a is greater than 0, I will use these two informations to draw the graph, and when a is less than 0, I will use these two informations to draw the graph. Please remember these two informations. These two will be useful when drawing the graph. Okay, now fine. So we will start going with the three cases, dear students. We'll start looking into the three cases that come under case 2 when delta is greater than 0. So under case 2, I have three cases. Case A, if f of alpha into f of beta is negative, this is the first case. Under case 2, this is the first case. What if f of alpha into f of beta is less than 0? Case B, when f of alpha into f of beta is equal to 0. And case C, when f of alpha into f of beta is greater than 0. Okay, now so when f of alpha into f of beta is less than 0, we will see what happens. When f of alpha into f of beta is equal to 0, we will see what happens. And then if the product of f of alpha and f of beta is greater than 0, we will see what happens. First we will discuss this case A. Observe, it's very easy. Dear students, if product of two things is negative, then one must be positive and the other must be negative, right? One must be positive and the other must be negative. I will imagine that f of alpha is positive and f of beta is negative. Okay, now so let us go for the graph from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, now I'll take the 2 points alpha and beta. At alpha, at alpha, f of alpha is positive. That means the graph is above. And at beta, f of beta is negative. That means the graph point is below. So if you want to draw the graph now, in the interval alpha and beta, if you connect these two graph points, the graph is decreasing. Correct or not? F of x is decreasing. F of x is decreasing means its derivative must be less than 0. Correct or not? F of x is decreasing means its derivative must be less than 0. F dash of x is less than 0. And in the interval alpha comma beta, if f dash of x is negative, then the coefficient A, leading coefficient, must be positive. Okay, now so let us complete the graph now. This will be the graph, dear students. This will be the graph when if f of alpha into f of beta is negative. In one case where I have taken f of alpha is positive and f of beta is negative. Okay, now I have taken one as positive and the other as negative. F of alpha as positive and f of beta is negative. Then I got the graph like this. Here a is greater than 0. Now you can clearly see the graph is saying how many roots are there. The graph is saying how many roots. So 1, 2, 3. So how many number of roots are there? 3 real and distinct roots. 3 real and distinct roots. Similarly, you can draw the graph when a is less than 0. How we will draw the graph? See, in first case I have taken this is positive and this is negative. You can also reverse. What if f of alpha is negative and f of beta is positive? You can see the graph now. From minus infinity to plus infinity I have taken the graph. I have taken alpha and beta. See, what if f of alpha is negative? At alpha the graph point is below the x-axis, and f of beta is positive, the graph point is above. Now join the two graph points. So in the interval alpha comma beta, f of x is increasing. That means its derivative is positive in the interval alpha comma beta, which means a is negative. Just 5 minutes before this I have explained this, correct? So therefore a is negative. Since a is negative, as x approaches minus infinity, the graph point should approach plus infinity. So I have to draw the graph like this. And as x approaches plus infinity, the graph must approach minus infinity. So clearly, dear students, in this case also, how many roots are there? 1, 2, 3. 3 real and distinct roots. So therefore, dear students, take f of x, find its derivative, take the discriminant of the derivative, and if delta is greater than 0, in delta greater than 0, if f of alpha into f of beta is less than 0, then there are 3 real and distinct roots. This graph if a is greater than 0, and this graph if a is less than 0. So remember, if f of alpha into f of beta is less than 0, then we can say that there are 3 real and distinct roots, where alpha and beta are the roots of f dash of x equal to 0. Okay, now. So this is the first case, if f of alpha into f of beta is less than 0. Now we will go for the second case, where f of alpha into f of beta is equal to 0. Here we are under the case 2 only, where delta is greater than 0. The second possibility, what if f of alpha into f of beta is greater than 0? Here again we will draw two possibilities. First I will take a greater than 0 and I will draw the graph. I will take a less than 0 and I will draw the graph. Okay, now see here, dear students, if a is greater than 0, how to draw the graph? Imagine that number 1, f of alpha is equal to 0. The product of two things is equal to 0 means either the first person must be 0 or the second person must be 0. First I have thought f of alpha is 0, then what happens? Alpha beta. F of alpha is 0, minus infinity to plus infinity. At alpha, the graph must touch the x-axis, remember this, because f of alpha is 0. Okay, now, so this is the graph. It touches the x-axis at alpha. This is the graph, dear students. If f of alpha is equal to 0, then this is the graph. You can clearly see that here we have a repeated root. That repeated root is nothing but alpha only, and here we have a new root. Okay, now, so here also there are 3 roots. What are the 3 roots? Here also we will have 3 real roots. In that, one repeated root will be there. Okay, now, so that means if I want to write the roots, I will write alpha comma some new root gamma. These are the 3 roots of f of x equal to 0, we will say. So observe that it has 3 real roots where there is a repeated root. Okay, now this is just one possibility. If f of alpha is equal to 0, you draw the graph like this. Or dear students, what if f of beta is equal to 0? How we will draw the graph? Simple. If f of beta is equal to 0, take alpha here and beta here. If f of beta is equal to 0, look here. The graph will be drawn like this. Certainly at alpha it has to change the direction. At beta also it has to change the direction, because at these points if you draw a tangent, the slope of the tangent must be equal to 0. Okay, now, so anyhow, this is the graph. if f of beta is equal to 0. Here also there are repeated roots. What are that repeated roots? Beta is the repeated root. Total 3 roots are there. 3 real and distinct roots. Sorry, not distinct. 3 real roots where one repeated root is there. And what if I want to write the repeated root? Then beta is the repeated root. We'll write beta comma beta and some root. Here is that some other root gamma. I'll write the root like this. Wherever the graph touches the x-axis, there we will get repeated root. Remember this. Okay, na? So next, similarly we can draw the graph if a is less than 0. Similarly we can draw the graph if a is less than 0. So number 1, if f of alpha is equal to 0, you should draw the graph like this. If f of alpha is equal to 0, alpha, beta, this is the graph. If f of alpha is equal to 0, it touches the x-axis at alpha. The repeated root is alpha. Okay, na? And what if f of beta is equal to 0? We have to draw the graph like this. Take alpha point, beta point, and this is how we have to draw the graph. Now, in this case, beta is the repeated root, and in this case, alpha is the repeated root. In all these cases, we will say that there are 3 real roots, okay, now with 1 repeated root. Here the repeated root is alpha and here the repeated root is beta. So this is how you have to draw the graph. If f of alpha into f of beta is equal to 0. Okay, now we will go with the next case where f of alpha into f of beta is greater than 0. Dear students, if the product of two things is positive, both must be positive or both must be negative, correct? So I'll imagine that both are positive. Let us imagine that both are positive. Okay, now how to draw the graph if a is greater than 0? See here. In this case, I'll imagine that f of alpha is positive and f of beta is also positive. Now how to draw the graph? Take alpha and beta. F of alpha is positive and f of beta is positive, and moreover a is positive. Then you should draw the graph like this. Correct? F of alpha is also above x-axis. F of beta is also above x-axis. What if both are negative? F of alpha is negative and f of beta is negative. Keep this in mind that a is greater than 0. Then how we will draw the graph? Alpha, beta. Alpha, beta. Then we will draw the graph like this. So observe. Now how to draw the graph if a is less than 0? How to draw the graph if a is less than 0? Again, case 1. F of alpha is greater than 0 and f of beta is greater than 0. Both f of alpha and f of beta are positive. How to draw the graph? Take alpha and beta. Both f of alpha and f of beta is positive and moreover a is less than 0. Na? So this is how you have to draw the graph. Similarly, what if both are negative? Minus into minus. What if both are negative? F of alpha is less than 0 and f of beta is less than 0. Then how to draw the graph? Take alpha and beta points. This is how we have to draw the graph. Wait a second. A turning point. That is important. So observe in all the 4 graphs, dear students, how many times the graph intersects the x-axis. That is important. One time, one time, one time, one time. Therefore, how many number of roots are there in this case? 1 real root. The other 2 are complex conjugates. 1 real root, that's it. So if delta is greater than 0 and if f of alpha into f of beta is greater than 0, then we will have only 1 real root. Understand this. Okay, na? So next, dear students, we will go for case 3. In case 3, what if delta is equal to 0? Dear students, if delta is equal to 0, that means what? We had a f dash of x which was 3ax square plus 2bx plus c, correct? So for this we have found delta discriminant which was equal to 0. If you get delta equal to 0, then this person has real and equal roots. Na? So let the equal roots are alpha comma alpha. Then how I will write f dash of x? I can write it as 3a times x minus alpha whole square, correct? Using f dash of x, if I have to find f of x, then I have to integrate on both sides with respect to dx, correct? And if you integrate on both sides with respect to dx, you will get this a into x minus alpha whole cube plus k. Now, dear students, here again, number 1, if k is equal to 0, then f of x is equal to what? F of x is equal to a into x minus alpha whole cube. So this means we are getting 3 real and equal roots. So therefore 3 real and equal roots. 3 real and equal roots. And what if k is not equal to 0? What if k is not equal to 0? I cannot say exactly how many roots in this case, because k is not equal to 0. Na? K will be there only. We cannot say exactly how many roots, but we can guarantee at least one real root. At least one real root. So this is the concept of nature of the roots, dear students. Now let us summarize whatever we have discussed using one particular flow chart. So we had f dash of x equal to 0, where the discriminant delta is 4 times b square minus 3ac. We had first case where delta is less than 0. Here we said that f dash of x can never be equal to 0. Therefore, there are we have only one real root. One real root. If delta is less than 0 for f dash of x, then there is only one real root for f of x. Okay, now for f of x equal to 0. For f of x equal to 0. Now in case 2, where delta was greater than 0, here we had 3 possibilities. A, if f of alpha into f of beta is negative, then what happens? There will be 3 real and distinct roots. Next, if f of alpha into f of beta is equal to 0, then what happens? Then there will be how much? 3 real roots, in that one repeated root. Correct? 3 real roots, in that one repeated root. That repeated root can be alpha or it can be beta also. Next, then we had the third case where if f of alpha into f of beta is greater than 0. In this case, what happened? We had only one real root, correct? Only one real root. The other two being complex and conjugates. Next, what if delta is equal to 0? Again, here we had 2 possibilities. Depending on that constant, integral constant k. Okay, now let me write that. Here we will get f of x is equal to a into x minus alpha whole cube plus k. Correct? Depending on this value k. If k is equal to 0, I'll write here. If k is equal to 0, then what happened? Then we have 3 real and equal roots. And if k is not equal to 0, then what happens? If this k is not equal to 0, then we have at least one real root. At least one real root. It can have 2 real roots also, it can have 3 real roots also, but one real root is guaranteed. So this is the flow chart to understand what the nature of the roots, dear students. You can refer this flow chart every time while solving the problems based on the nature of the roots of cubic equations. You can refer this and you can, if you want, you can take a screenshot. You can take a pic also. You can use this always. You can refer this always while using it in the problems to talk about the nature of the roots of cubic equations. So to understand this concept, let us take one example. Here is the question, dear students. If f of x is equal to 2x cube minus 6x plus k, then find the interval in which k lies, so that this equation f of x equal to 0 has 3 real and distinct roots. All of you remember in which case we will get 3 real and distinct roots. First of all, f of x is equal to 0 has 3 real and distinct roots if and only if delta is greater than 0. Correct? If and only if delta is greater than 0 for f dash of x equal to 0, and at the same time f of alpha into f of beta is less than 0, and at the same time f of alpha into f of beta is less than 0. Correct? So first of all, delta must be greater than 0 for f dash of x equal to 0, and after that f of alpha into f of beta must be less than 0. Who are alpha and beta? They are the roots of f dash of x equal to 0. So let us now take f of x and find its derivative. First let us find its derivative. F dash of x equal to, this is cube, 2 into x cube derivative is 3x square minus 6 into x derivative is 1 plus constant derivative is 0. So I got f dash of x equal to 6x square minus 6. Equate this to 0 to find its roots. So what will you get if you divide with 6 on both sides? X square minus 1 equal to 0. Therefore x is equal to plus or minus 1. Correct? Therefore alpha is plus 1 and beta is minus 1. Or therefore alpha is minus 1, beta is plus 1. Generally I will consider alpha is less than beta now. So alpha is minus 1, beta is. So if you want 3 real and distinct roots, this condition must be satisfied. F of alpha into f of beta must be less than 0. What does it mean, dear students? F of alpha, that means f of minus 1, into f of beta, that means f of plus 1, must be less than 0. So what is f of minus 1? Substitute here. F of minus 1 means 2 into minus 1 cube minus 6 into minus 1 plus k. I will find here. F of minus 1 equal to, what is it? 2 into minus 1 cube minus 6 into minus 1 plus k. Simplify it. Minus 2 plus 6 plus k. Minus 2 plus 6 plus k. You will get k plus 4. So therefore f of minus 1 means k plus 4. Now you find what is f of plus 1. F of 1 is equal to, f of 1 means in place of x we have to take 1. So 2 into 1 cube minus 6 into 1 plus k. So 2 minus 6 is minus 4 plus k. Minus 4 plus k means k minus 4. Correct? So please use it. F of minus 1 means k plus 4 and k minus 4 less than 0. And using the solution set of quadratic inequalities, using that concept we can say that k belongs to minus 4 comma plus 4. Therefore k, so that what is it? K lies in which interval? The interval in which k lies. The interval in which k lies is minus 4 comma plus 4 with open brackets. So this is the answer for this. If you want the roots to be real and distinct, then k must be a number in this interval. Okay, na dear students? So I hope you have understood this concept. If you have understood the concept, please like the video, share it to your friends, subscribe the channel, click the bell icon, and most importantly, leave your feedback in the comment section. If you want any particular topic in this topic of cubic equations, you can let me know in the comment section. So thank you, dear students. We'll continue in next video with next topic.